Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 287 for March 14th, 2023. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, the Chicago Bears trade the number one pick in this year's NFL draft to the Carolina Panthers, and the CFL's Montreal Alouettes have a new owner. In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of the time when the 2001 XFL was planning for expansion. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Yes, that is Adam Snow, not Adam Schefter, because I'm sure I'm going to have to jump in and give some breaking news at some point. We are still in the legal tampering phase of NFL free agency.
There's news flying everywhere.
Man.
People going here, people re-signing, people not signing. It's crazy right now.
It's absolutely nuts because, all these teams, there's a lot of teams releasing players and people, starting to agree to deals.
Yeah.
All the teams have to be under that salary cap by 4:00 tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow
Wednesday
is the start of the new
15th.
NFL year.
But then tomorrow's also the day where we're probably going to see a heck of a lot more
Yep.
deals coming. Like
The official signings.
Lamar Jackson will finally be able to actually talk to other teams officially after 4:00 tomorrow. So there's just so much that could go down tomorrow. And I'm sorry that everybody listening's got to wait 6 whole days for us to give our thoughts on all that.
Well, it'll be old news by then, which is typical for our show.
Which is fine. We'll just sift through a lot of stuff. Like, we didn't cover every NFL free agency signing and pickup.
no,
We
there's
just hit
way
a
too
few of the
many.
notes later on.
Yeah. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show as well as other selected videos. We're also on Amazon Music, so you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. So let's begin today's show, and we begin with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. It was week 4 of the XFL. Oh, I'm glad the XFL's around. Last week was great because all those games were pretty close.
Mhm.
And this week, 75% of these games were not close. So we started on Saturday with the Houston Roughnecks defeating the Orlando Guardians 44-16. This helps the Houston Roughnecks remain undefeated at 4-0, while that also means the Orlando Guardians will be 0-4. Houston quarterback Brandon Silvers completed 24 passes for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns. There was also a great double pass touchdown highlight. If anybody's seen that replay, it was great.
Yeah, you told me about it, and I didn't
It
look
was
it
so
up.
cool. It was really well done. And then Orlando quarterback Paxton Lynch completed 18 passes for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns, including that he threw an 81-yard touchdown pass at the start, during that game, which was a heck of a play too. So great highlights from this game, despite the Guardians getting run over by the Roughnecks.
Yeah, this game unfortunately came on at 7 p.m. at night, and it wasn't one of the teams that you and I
On a Saturday
really,
night, Randy.
Yeah.
What are you doing at 7 o'clock on the Saturday?
I'm thinking about going to bed. And then the next game was at 10 o'clock that night, so I did not see much of either of these two games. And
for shame. How do you have a football podcast and YouTube channel and not watch every ounce of football out there?
Well, but I'm tired.
All right, then, as Randy alluded to, the second of the doubleheader on Saturday, the 10 o'clock game, saw the Seattle Sea Dragons defeat the San Antonio Brahmas 15-6. And I'm laughing because Randy misspelled Brahmas in the...
Did I?
Oh, the Brahmins? Must have had ramen noodles on the brain. You did go to a ramen shop.
It didn't have a little red line under it, so I figured I spelled it right. Oh, well.
I don't know what a Brahmin is, but it must be a mix between a Brahma and a shaman. Or ramen. 15-6 was the score the Sea Dragons won. Seattle quarterback Ben DiNucci completed 28 passes for 264 yards and a touchdown in the win, while San Antonio quarterback Jack Cohn completed 20 passes for 189 yards and 0 touchdowns in the loss. And I believe DiNucci is the first quarterback in the XFL to hit the 1,000-yard mark in passing.
He's been doing really well this year. I think he might be getting some looks from some NFL teams. in the near future because he's really lighting it up.
And there is some breaking NFL news.
Oh,
Man,
God.
yeah, we'll
You
get to that
can't
in the
wait till
news.
the XFL is
I know
over
we can't.
with?
I just looked at my phone and I saw that alert go off. I was like, oh, dang, we're going to have to talk about that in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
All right. Continuing with the XFL real fast. On Sunday, the St. Louis Battlehawks defeated the Arlington Renegades 24-11 in their first home game of the season in St. Louis.
Yeah.
It was a record attendance for the XFL as 38,310 fans packed the dome. And for me watching that on TV, I was really hoping that they would pull off the 40K.
Well,
I was really hoping. It looked like they started opening stuff up in the upper deck, but they just didn't go further than like behind the bleachers up in the third deck. Like there was nothing in the end zones; those were completely empty. But you could see a little bit behind one of the benches up there in the third deck that they started letting those tickets. I wonder if they would have just opened all the tickets up if they would have gotten 40,000.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was a great crowd. They were really into
great
it.
Crowd, great atmosphere, and I think this was pretty much a good game despite the score being 24-11. You know, the battle. There was a lot of great plays in this game. St. Louis quarterback A.J. McCarron did complete 20 passes for 214 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Arlington quarterback Kyle Sloter completed 23 passes for 205 yards. Didn't throw any touchdowns, but he had 3 big interceptions during that game.
It's kind of hard to win when you throw 3 interceptions
and
no
a couple
touchdowns.
of those interceptions. There was one in particular where a guy pretty much intercepted it off his own shoelaces. Like Slaughter was just trying to just throw it away, and it was like fluttering down to the ground. And this I can't remember if he was a linebacker or what. He pretty much just caught it down by his feet, and it was like, how did he get that? So there, some athletic plays by that St. Louis defense, and that crowd was absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
almost as awesome as the DC Defenders crowd, who might be my favorite crowd in the XFL. The DC Defenders on Sunday defeated the Vegas Vipers 32-18. The Beer Snake made its return again as DC quarterback Jordan Tamau completed 14 passes for 177 yards, but no touchdowns. He also ran 9 times for 89 yards, while backup quarterback, can we really call him a backup when they were pretty much like just dual quarterbacks?
He only played a little bit. He threw like maybe 3-4 passes, something like that.
De'Aaron King ran the ball 4 times for 8 yards, but scored 2 touchdowns. But on the Vegas side of the ball, my poor Vipers, quarterback Luis Perez completed 23 passes for 283 yards and 2 touchdowns in the loss.
Yeah, he looked good while he was out there, but I was surprised to see him because I thought Hundley was their new quarterback after last week.
They've been going back and forth. Ain't found a winning spark yet. But what were you about to chime in with the Beer Snake?
It didn't look like it was as big as the last time.
That's what she said. Way to derail the show.
Too much Office influence here. No, the last one went all the way to the top, and then it was starting to curl its way back. They started a second one, last week, and they were trying to connect the two, and this time I don't even think it made it all the way to the top of the end zone section there. So, but I mean, it's still something they enjoy doing.
Man, that crowd is just absolutely seems like a great time there.
Yeah, I still saw them throwing some lemons here and there when they didn't.
Oh, of course, that's tradition now. It is now tradition. They can't stop it.
And one of the Vegas players picked up a lemon and threw it back in the crowd. I thought maybe he was going to get fined or something for that.
We might hear about that.
Throwing something into the crowd. I mean,
don't go doing dumb stuff like that.
Yeah, there's been enough dumb stuff already in the XFL this year.
Yeah,
by players,
unfortunately, but it's early on in the season. Hopefully, they clean some of that up.
Yep.
We do want to real quick look ahead to Week 5, which will see the 4-0 Houston Roughnecks travel to Seattle to play the Sea Dragons. The 4-0 DC Defenders will travel to St. Louis to play the 3-1 Battlehawks.
That should be a game.
That'll be a game, I hope.
That'll be the game of the week.
Then on Saturday, my game of the week is going to be the Orlando Guardians at 0-4, traveling to Vegas to play my Vipers, who are also 0-4. Somebody's got to get their first win, right? There's no tying in the XFL.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm not sure how the overtime rules go. We haven't seen one yet, so it'll be interesting to see if that happens.
And then in a battle of Texas, the Arlington Renegades will travel over to San Antonio to play the Brahmins, as Randy misspells it again. In the
hey, I'm consistent.
You're consistently terrible at making scripts.
I'm consistent.
The Brahmas. Brahmin. Oh, boy, I could use some Brahmin noodles right now.
Yeah. So next week is the halfway point. We might do a little video after that, giving our impressions of the
is that what you want to do?
First half of the season, maybe, or some kind of review of the first half.
Figure out. We are going to be slammed the next couple weeks, just between vacations. You got a weekend getaway you're doing.
Yep.
I'm doing a weekend getaway, like at the same time.
We're not gonna have much time to get
together and
the week after this show.
We'll see. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, it might be a short show once we come back from vacation. What happened? I can't remember. Oh well, let's see you next week.
But all right, that's it for the XFL. Now let's throw it over to Randy, who's going to talk about the CIF.
Yeah, there were 3 games in week 2 of the Champions Indoor Football. And on Friday night, it was the Omaha Beef over the Billings Outlaws, 47-19. And on Saturday, it was the Sioux City Bandits over the Salina Liberty, 45-39 in overtime. And on Sunday, it was the Gillette Mustangs destroying the Rapid City Marshals, 68-20.
Oof.
Yeah, I think Gillette. I had to look this up. They're in Wyoming. I think they were the Wyoming Mustangs last year, and now they're the Gillette Mustangs. So, yeah, a little clarification.
What a big missed opportunity to be called the Gillette Razors. I'm just saying. Just saying. What a big missed opportunity. And it could have gotten a sponsorship out of it, too.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be a great football. Come on, the Gillette Razors.
And anybody with a beard that comes in is fined an extra 10% on their ticket price or something.
Hey, just because I'll buy some razors doesn't mean I got to use them.
And you don't.
And I don't. Thank you. Yep.
All right, that's it for this week's World of Football scoreboard. We're going to move to some NFL news. This may take a few minutes. Because
this might be the heart of the episode.
I had like 4 or 5 items here, and you added probably twice as many.
The thing is, Randy's got... Okay, our ears are different when it comes to the NFL news scene. You kind of get things a little bit here and there. You might catch some stuff when you catch a few minutes of ESPN. You don't get as many Twitter updates and as many, push notification stuff from the NFL as I do.
I kind of pay attention to what the Lions are doing, but I don't care about anybody else.
Says the man who runs the world of football.
Well, yeah, that's why I got you to the yin.
And don't roll your eyes when I add 18 stories to your 4.
The big stories like Aaron Rodgers and a few of the other big names going around. I'll catch those, but you're listing off people, linemen from here and this and that. And I'm like, I don't pay attention to all that.
There's a fine line where even I'm just like, do people even know or care about certain positions?
Right.
Like there was a Chicago Bears player. I'm not going to say the name. I don't remember at the top of my head. One of the biggest inside linebacker contracts in NFL history. Good for him. He got his money, but this is the most we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about all the big stuff, starting with
the Chicago Bears trading the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft to the Carolina Panthers for 4 draft picks and wide receiver DJ Moore. The Bears are going to get the number 9 and number 61 pick this year from the Panthers, and they get a first-round pick next year in 2024 and a second-round pick in 2025.
Yes, I didn't think it would be the Panthers that traded up. I honestly didn't. They were like one of the last teams I would have thought would trade up to take the number 1
Yeah, that was
pick.
A bit of a surprise. I don't know who I thought might trade with them if they traded at all.
I thought maybe like a Colts or one of these other teams that were kind of in the top half of the top 10 picks, trying to get a quarterback. Like if you're Houston, like do you risk letting a team be ahead of you? The Bears don't need a quarterback, so you move up a pick. I thought maybe the Texans, maybe the Colts, maybe even the Lions. I'm not saying that they would have gone for the number 1 pick, but the Lions might want a quarterback. Who knows? The draft is going to be crazy. But do you think the Bears fleeced the Panthers with all this? Or do you think this is a good trade? Because
no, I kind of judge everything by the Matthew Stafford trade. Where we got a couple of picks this year, a couple of first rounds this year, next year, and whatever. I think we still got some more picks coming year after this, don't we?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the last year.
Is it?
It was like 2 first-round picks and maybe like a 3rd-round pick this year.
But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
It is tough. So I thought the Bears should have gotten a lot more out of this. Like everybody, I had a Bears fan telling me at where I work. He said, "Well, DJ Moore is practically like getting another first-round pick," and I just looked at him like, "I think you're stupid." Like I think this is the Bears got stuff. Like good for them. They've done a good job at getting stuff.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers moving up to. We all suspect they're going to go up to get C.J. Stroud at number 1 or Bryce Young. I'm not sure which one. They're going to get a quarterback. It's obvious. But I was like, okay, you gave up a couple first-round picks. Like this year, all they did was swap picks. I'm like, if you're the Panthers, that's awesome. If you're the Bears, sure, you drop back to 9. But for me, it's like, that's it. You're just swapping first-round picks, and then you get a second-round pick. What did you say, the number 61 pick?
Yeah.
And then you get a first-rounder next year, and then a second-rounder the year after that. And I'm just like, you couldn't have gotten 3 straight years of first-round picks. For the number 1 overall pick this year.
Yeah, how bad you want it?
But I mean, they got DJ Moore and they need receivers.
Right.
So Maybe that cancels out an extra first they could have gotten.
Well, we don't know what the negotiations were like.
Who knows? But
maybe that was offered up and they countered.
I will just stick with it. I think the Bears should have and could have gotten more for that first overall pick. But hey, it is what it is.
Yep.
And I think it works for both teams. To look it up. I'd looked a Bears fan in the face and said, "Your team is stupid," because I think you could have gotten more from it. But they were happy. Bears fans are apparently happy with this, and the Bears have been making some free agency moves too. So, could the Bears be a worst to first kind of team this upcoming year?
I hope not. Not in our division.
Yeah, I hope not. But we'll see.
It'll take them a couple of years, and by then maybe we'll have our.
We'll see. There's a lot of teams making moves this year. So.
All right. In other news, San Francisco quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is signing. I don't think the ink is on the contract yet.
I don't think it can technically be yet.
Yeah, but he is set to sign a 3-year, $67.5 million contract with the Raiders, and of that, $34 million is going to be guaranteed.
I mean, you lose Derek Carr, you get Garoppolo, coming off injury.
Yeah,
but he's not getting the big fat quarterback contract that you come to expect from a lot of these guys, which I thought was weird. I thought it was weird his deal was only $67.5 million when you got a Daniel Jones, when I'd probably say Garoppolo is better than Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones is raking in the $100 million contract. So,
well, with lesser money on your quarterback, you can spend it on other players to put around him. So,
but I mean, he teamed back up with his former coordinator from the Patriots. So, and then they also, and I don't think we have this in there, but they also got wide receiver. They got one of the receivers from the Patriots as well. Why am I blanking on his name? Well, regardless, sounds like some former Patriots going over to play for the Raiders. So we'll see what they do. And I guess I should have put this up here, but we got the Raiders also then traded away Pro Bowl tight end Darren Waller to the Giants for a 3rd-round pick. That'll be pick number 100 in the draft this year. So the Raiders making moves.
Did you want to mention your breaking news that you found a minute ago?
Oh, yeah, I guess we could quickly throw it in. The Dallas Cowboys are acquiring cornerback Stephon Gilmore, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, from the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for a 2023 5th-round compensatory pick.
Wow, compensatory pick.
Yeah. So that is the news that kind of just came through a while ago.
You said 2024? Compensatory pick?
I believe 2023 5th-round compensatory pick.
I was gonna say I didn't think they assigned compensatory picks until
not that far.
Yeah, I thought you were talking next year. Okay.
2023. So this upcoming draft.
Okay.
So Stephon Gilmore, a great defensive player, going to the Cowboys.
Okay. Let's see. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy underwent successful right elbow surgery. I think it was last Friday.
Yeah, it sounds like it was Friday. I mean, he looked great at the end of last year. He was getting a lot of hype. And then that injury in the NFC Championship game, keeping him out for a whole year. Yeah, unbelievable. Wow. Poor kid, has he probably would have been the starting quarterback for the 49ers.
Who knows?
But
it was a great story, Mr. Irrelevant and playing, winning every game he started and getting him into the playoffs and all that. So, that was such a terrible thing. And the play did not look that bad, when he bumped his elbow on somebody's helmet or something.
Yeah, and then
it didn't look that bad, but oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How things can change in a microsecond in the NFL.
Right. And then I think that because of that injury, the Niners did go on and sign former Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold to I think it was a 1-year contract. So Sam Darnold on the move again. This time to the other coast. So interesting there. That quarterback situation between Sam Darnold now and then who's the rookie they drafted last year? Trey Lance. Trey Lance, thank you. That'll be an interesting situation there in San Francisco.
Okay. Speaking of the Cowboys, a minute ago, they are restructuring the contracts of quarterback Dak Prescott and guard Zach Martin to create nearly $30 million in cap space for 2023.
And on top of that, just now the breaking getting top cornerback in the league. That Dallas team is trying to make moves too. This is what's so crazy about the offseason. People are going to automatically assume their team's a Super Bowl contender just based on what's happening in the last 48 hours and then what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, this keeps them engaged. As soon as the Super Bowl's over with, you go right into the combine.
That's why the NFL
now this is the free agency period. It's going to be the draft. Yep. And then it's going to be off-season workouts with these new players, and then the preseason. And It's like the NFL wants
They
to be
figured it
there in
out.
front of your mind.
They figured out
all
how
year
to
long.
keep that Shield logo in your brain.
Yeah, keep everybody
12
engaged.
months a year.
Yep.
7 days a week.
Absolutely.
It's masterful.
It's giving us stuff to talk about.
Yeah, no wonder I can't get a week off. Thanks, NFL.
Hey, you had 5 weeks off last year. Get over it.
That is true.
None this year.
None this year.
No
Thanks,
break,
boss.
No break for you.
Whoa, that was wow. Do we cancel Randy now, everybody? Does it finally happen? Let me know.
All right, where were we on here?
The Rams.
Yep,
look on your spread, your sheet.
Oh, the Rams trade cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins for a 3rd-round pick, which is number 77, and they get tight end Hunter Long.
So yeah, this deal, I couldn't believe this. I think the Lions and the Dolphins were the 2 teams in the mix for this deal. And the fact that a 3rd-round pick and a tight end I never heard of were the recipients for Jalen Ramsey makes me a little extra mad that the Lions couldn't go get this guy. But, we'll talk a little bit about our Lions in a minute. Not that anybody else cares, but I would have loved to have seen Jalen Ramsey in Honolulu Blue, but I think he got a bunch of more guaranteed money than I think Detroit would have been willing to pay. I think the Dolphins are covering some of that. There's a whole lot. There's just so much to this NFL free agency and the cap space and how the money works.
I don't understand any of it.
I want to understand it, but I also I don't know if you saw my tweet the other day about, because I think Adam Schefter or somebody tweeted something out. And that's what made me go, this cap's got to be imaginary. The way they just work their magic to make anything work the way they want, it's all just imaginary numbers. It's like the banks keeping your money. It's all fake money in there.
Yeah, contracts mean nothing because they can restructure anytime they want. With the players.
Yeah, at least on the money side, but there's still certain things that the contracts will abide by,
right.
like giving players and teams protections in certain regards. But it's still just when you see a lot of these crazy numbers, like how does this team, how do the Dallas Cowboys operate in such a way that where they are negative in the cap, yet they've been allowed to do half the crap they're doing? Just like when the Rams had all those guys when they went to the Super Bowl. It's like, how did they maintain all of those superstars on that roster and still stay under the cap? It was whatever the cap magic is. I would love to see a video explaining that to me.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some out there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, we had a lot more to get through, so
keep on moving.
Less comments on your part.
Whoa.
Let's see. The Dolphins.
The
Dolphins picked up Tua Tagovailoa's 5th-year option. Once executed, it guarantees $23.2 million for the 2024 season. So I guess this whole deal won't kick in until next year.
I'd say stuff, but I guess I'm not allowed to talk anymore.
Oh, good. Now, let's see. Washington quarterback Taylor Heineke has signed a 2-year, $20 million contract with the Falcons. They said it could be up to $20 million. I think there's a lot of incentives in that one. Aaron Rodgers is almost a Jet quarterback, but he has given a list of demands. They said it was a wish list. You were calling it a list of demands.
He is trying to hold that organization hostage. I even messaged my buddy Eric in New York. He's a Jets fan. And I said, hey, I'm here for you in your time of need, as Aaron Rodgers pretty much holds your franchise at gunpoint with a list of demands.
Yeah.
And they even signed one of those demands.
Did they?
Yep.
Okay.
What was it? His demands were...
let's see. He wants
Packer
three former Packers, wide receiver Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and tight end Mercedes Lewis, as well as Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, I believe Allen Lazard has signed a 4-year deal with the Jets now. So there's the first name off of his list. Boy, oh boy, I feel bad for the Jets. The fact that Rodgers puts this out, if this is true, allegedly puts this out there for that team to, I might come to play for you guys and let this trade happen if you sign Allen and if you sign, who's the other guy? Randall, and if you sign Mercedes. Oh, and if you go get Odell Beckham. That's that the Jets already didn't have a bunch of great young receivers there. What is it, Gardner? They had the one wide receiver that I'm pretty sure won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. They got a couple other great wide receivers there, too. A couple of younger guys than these old farts that Aaron Rodgers is trying to bring over.
Well, he probably knows them, and then he won't have to work with them in the offseason.
That's exactly what, when I was listening to ESPN on the drive over here, that's exactly what they were speculating. Is Aaron Rodgers just trying to get his guys in there so that he doesn't have to show up to OTAs,
right,
so that his receivers can show his new teammates how he operates, so that when he shows up, it's all smooth sailing for him.
It's already been taken care of.
Oh my gosh, Aaron Rodgers. Okay, I respect Aaron Rodgers' game, but the fact that he holds a franchise hostage for an offseason every stinking year is getting old. And I don't know why Jet fans want him that bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
They could have had Derek Carr, and here we are sitting here going, "Oh, is Aaron Rodgers going to sign today?" Watch when he breaks their heart. They're going to sign all 4 of those guys. Their cap space is going to be ruined. They're going to be like, "Gee, now we got 4 old fart wide receivers. What do we do with these young guys?" Well, guess we got to get rid of them and get rid of those contracts just to make room for them. And then Aaron Rodgers says, I think I'm going to retire.
Well, Mike Greenberg on ESPN, he is a huge Jets fan.
He's probably him and Rich Eisen are the 2 big Jets fans.
He's been loving the fact that he wants Aaron Rodgers to be on the Jets so bad. But I'm wondering what he's going to think of this wish list or whatever. You keep calling it demands.
It's demands.
But I just wonder how he's going to feel about that.
Anybody who says this isn't a hostage situation is insane. Look at the optics. He is holding a team hostage on the whims of just, I don't know, I might go to a dark retreat again and think this over. Come on, man. Like, this team needs to know what they're getting at quarterback so they can move on with their free agency plans. Like, they just missed out on Derek Carr. I can't believe you would pass up a Derek Carr who... Derek Carr would have shown up and gone, yep, I'll play with whoever you got. No list of demands. Just pay me a reasonable salary, and I will show up for OTAs.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, no. You get a dog and pony circus with this dude. And that's how I'll leave it at that because you look like you want to move on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I really do hope that Aaron Rodgers goes into another dark house again, and then they padlock the door once he's in there and don't let him out until after the season's over with. Okay, let's see. Raiders trade Pro Bowl tight end.
We covered that one.
Did we?
Yep, I kind of brought that up.
Okay.
Yep.
One day after he announced he would return for the 2023 season, Eagles center Jason Kelce and the team reached an agreement on a 1-year, $14.25 million deal. I did see that.
Yeah, good for him.
I didn't see the numbers on the deal. I just saw yesterday that he said, "Yeah, I'm coming back."
Yeah, I didn't realize he signed an agreement either, but until right before the show. So good for him. I mean, outstanding dude, outstanding player. Great story this year going into the Super Bowl. So good for them.
And finally, Detroit Lions signed cornerback Cam Sutton from the Steelers to a 3-year, $33 million contract with a $10.9 million signing bonus. I hadn't really heard of this guy, but you said he was pretty good.
He was apparently the Steelers' #1 cornerback. A lot of like I said, as soon as I see some of these signings, and if I don't know the name right off the bat, I go and look and see what Steeler fans were saying, and they were crying. They were like, "No, how can this happen?"
Oh, good.
So I take that as a great sign. And then the Lions also signed another cornerback today from the 49ers.
Did they?
Yep, for a $6 million deal. So, the Lions have made a few defensive moves. So it's clear that the Lions are focusing on that defense, but they're not overpaying either, which I'm very okay with.
Well, like everybody around here is saying, Detroit is making these moves for the long haul, not just for one season. They're not trying to win a Super Bowl this year, but they're in it for the long haul. Where in the next few years, they're going to be really, really good. So I'm totally 100% behind whatever Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are doing.
49ers cornerback Emmanuel Mosley is who the Lions signed. So 1-year, $6 million deal.
Okay.
So
1-year deal.
So apparently another good player, but just had some recent injuries that kind of kept him off the field. But
that's why it's a 1-year deal.
Yep. So, and then the Lions have re-signed a bunch of key pieces. Like we've been hoping they'd re-sign a defensive lineman, Kaminsky. We were really hoping they'd get, so they got a 2-year deal on him.
Bugs.
Isaiah Bugs, another younger guy. Well, not younger, but another guy that was an integral part to that defense last year. Right. So the Lions are paying their guys. We're just waiting to hear if Jamal Williams, leader of the hidden village of the den himself.
They got to get him back. He's that was a career year he had. I looked at his stats when he was with Green Bay and Detroit.
When you're a team like the Lions who've been rebuilding this culture, and it finally feels like we have a fun, unique, hardworking culture that we haven't had in I can't remember in my entire life.
Really haven't had a good running game for years. I mean, you got to go back to Barry Sanders when we had a really good running game. We've had a few players here and there that have had 1,000-yard seasons, and Williams was one last year. He went over 1,000. I think it was 1,066 yards. So I mean, but he's very consistent. on the field. We can get 100 yards every week out of that guy.
Well,
Almost.
not just out of him, but he was a good tag team running back
Right.
with when DeAndre Swift was healthy.
Right.
I personally just I liked his personality. He, the fans all
Great
adore
with the
him.
fans, yep.
He has been nothing but great since coming to Detroit, and I think that and his leadership has extended throughout that team. Like you saw in Hard Knocks, he made that very impassioned speech, crying, and I think he's just a dude that you want in that locker room. I mean, he doesn't even have to put up 1,000 yards this season, but if he still gets the touchdowns when we need him, if he still gets those hard yards when we need him, I want that dude back. But we'll see if the Lions. I mean, there's other teams looking at him, so we'll see if the Lions can come to a deal.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll maybe take a little less and stay with Detroit. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Don't hope he gets paid. Get what you deserve.
Sure.
So, yep. So that's it for the NFL news.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to a little CFL news. Well, that's actually a lot of CFL news going on.
Not as many bullet points though.
Yeah. The Montreal Alouettes have a new owner. You remember the league took over the team after last season, and we didn't know how that was going to go. And already they found a new owner in the form of Pierre-Carl Halideau, age 61. He owns. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. Quebecor Incorporated. It's a media and telecommunications company. I guess he inherited it from his father, so it's like a family business thing. And I guess they didn't say what he paid for the team, but they said that he paid for it with his own money, not company money. So he really believes in the team. He's a very proud Montreal resident, and he loves the team, and so everything that I'm reading, it's like this guy is the perfect fit. And I think they said there were like 10 different groups that were looking to buy into the Alouettes, but he's got the team now, and from what I'm hearing, it's very positive move for the league and for the team. Forbes magazine estimates his personal wealth at $2.6 billion Canadian. I don't know how that compares. So there.
Do I dare look up the conversion rate?
No. But like I said, the details of the sale were not announced. But he just seems like the right fit up there. So I'm hoping that he can do great things with the Montreal team.
I hope so. I mean, we love the Canadian Football League, and it helps having great ownership up there.
Yes.
And ownership that's stable. I think that's a key thing for the health of that league going forward.
Yep. And in the article that I read, they speculated that him coming in, with his money and his background, that may be the impetus to finally get the Atlantic Schooners off the ground and get a team out there.
If only
somewhere. They were saying maybe Quebec City instead of Halifax, but still, a 10th team is really needed to even things out in the CFL. So hopefully that will happen. Now, I wrote this other bullet point down, and I don't know if this happened today or not. I was trying to find it. There's supposed to be an announcement at 11 o'clock this morning, but that's probably Pacific time. So, but the rumor was that Winnipeg is going to host the 112th Grey Cup game in 2025. That announcement was supposed to be today. I didn't actually see it, so I'm hoping that they did make that announcement official. The Grey Cup game is going to be in Hamilton this year in 2023, and then it goes to Vancouver in 2024. That's when you want you and I to go and see the Grey Cup that year because it'll be in a dome stadium.
I believe they did make that announcement via the Winnipeg Blue Bombers official Twitter account 5 hours ago.
Okay.
Manitoba, the Grey Cup is coming back to Winnipeg in 2025.
Okay.
So they got a nice little video playing. I got the sound off for.
No, I figured it. I figured that was the rumor they were saying. If the commissioner was going to be there for a speech or a press conference, that had to be it.
And I got a nice press release here. The 112th Grey Cup in 2025 awarded to Winnipeg.
Okay.
Apparently, this will be for the 5th time in the rich history of the Canadian Football League. The Grey Cup will be played in Winnipeg. The 112th edition of the championship game will be played following a week of fanfare and celebration at the annual Grey Cup Festival in November.
Okay. And here's something that you probably had not heard. I just saw this a little while ago. Winnipeg Blue Bombers quarterback Dakota Prukop has signed with the New Jersey Generals of the USFL.
I did see that.
He's the second CFL quarterback to sign with the USFL after McLeod Bethel Thompson from the Argonauts signed with the New Orleans Breakers last week. What is going on with these CFL quarterbacks wanting to play in the USFL?
Why not play in the USFL?
I don't know. Personally, I think they had a good thing going up there.
I know
the money's not as good, of course, but
I know if we were to sit here and rank the professional football leagues, indoor and outdoor. It would go NFL, it would go CFL,
Sure.
and then there'd be a big old gap.
Yeah.
Actually, probably be American college football
Well,
system,
yeah,
and then it
true.
would be the USFL, XFL, and until the Arena League comes back, maybe
Yeah.
the Arena League could be wedged in there. But so I don't know if it's just getting back into the states and getting an eyeball on you in the states, because maybe there's going to be more scouts at these USFL games, and I'm not sure what kind of NFL partnerships these USFL
I know
teams
the
have.
XFL has some kind of a
XFL has partnerships with the indoor
USFL.
football league, but the USFL, as far as I know, don't have any like I said, I'm not sure 100% on the
Yeah.
details, but I mean, they are playing like in Ford Field, so there's some sort of
Yeah.
agreement with a USFL and at least an NFL franchise who owns that stadium.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they just think that more eyeballs will be there in the States. Sure, maybe the game up in Canada would be better, and maybe they'd get better money, but maybe the eyeballs are down here where, the States.
That could be. I think Crew Cup is he's pretty young. I think he's
He was
like up
young,
and coming.
He was more of a situational quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
so-
He came in, when the regular quarterback got injured, he started a few games and did fairly well. But I think, Bethel Thompson, he's been up there for a while. So he's like a veteran, just won the Grey Cup last year and now he's jumping to the USFL. So I don't know.
Maybe they're going with a challenge. Maybe they're going with the opportunity, or you're just trying to do something different. I mean,
Could be.
who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Get him on the show, Randy. Interview McLeod Bethel Thompson and ask him straight to his face.
Oh, okay.
Ask the hard-hitting football questions that you want to ask.
You want to go down to New Orleans and make a trip down there and talk to him?
I mean, do I have to pay for anything? Is this
You have to pay
is this
for
a
all of
business
it.
expense?
You have to pay for all of it.
Oh,
All right. Let's move on to today.
on my $0 salary with the world of football, I have to pay for this?
Yeah. You're making good money at the factory. Let's see. Today's birthdays and anniversaries. Actually, we just have one birthday today we're going to talk about, March 14th. Wide receiver Cal Rossi, born on this date in 1924. He passed away in 2013 at the age of 98. Played his college football at UCLA and was selected by the Washington Redskins owner Preston Marshall with the 9th overall pick in the 1946 NFL Draft. However, he was a junior that year, and so he was not eligible to be drafted. See, this is back in the days when you didn't have scouting teams looking at players. The owner of the Redskins was doing it all himself, and he's reading in the paper what a great player this guy was. He wanted him on his team, so that's who he drafted. So, okay, so he waits a year, and now the guy is eligible. So Marshall selected him to be the number 4 overall pick in the 1947 draft. But Rossi was already serving in the military, and he had no desire to play pro football. So I guess there was a little lack of communication between the two. So Rossi becomes the only person to ever be selected twice in 2 different drafts with a first-round pick and never played it down in the NFL. I guess he went on to be a great high school coach out in California, but never played in the NFL. And in 1947, he was also selected in the 4th round of the AAFC draft by the Los Angeles Dons, which I didn't know until I...
AACF. Well, that's how you wrote it down.
Yeah, AAFC.
Oh, wait, did you write it down wrong?
I did.
Oh, man.
did.
So many
AAFC.
flubs.
But he was inducted into the UCLA Athletic Hall of Fame in 1997, so he's got that going for him. All right, now we have a few obituaries to talk about today. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. Our first obituary is that of Bud Grant, a head coach in the NFL and the Canadian Football League. He has passed away at the age of 95. Grant played defensive end and tight end in college at the University of Minnesota and was the 14th overall pick in the 1950 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. He was also selected in the 4th round of the 1950 National Basketball Association draft by the Minnesota Lakers. You may not know that the Lakers actually came from Minnesota and then moved to Los Angeles.
I actually did know that.
Okay. But yeah, I guess he was a great college player, basketball player, so he was drafted by both leagues. He signed with the Lakers and played 2 seasons for them in 1950 and 1951, and he actually was on a team that won the NBA title in 1950, so he's got an NBA championship ring somewhere. He then signed with the Eagles, and he played for that team for 2 years in 1951 and 1952. Grant then went to Canada and played for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for 4 seasons from 1953 to 1956. After that, he became the head coach of the Blue Bombers for 10 seasons from 57 to 66 and led the team to 6 Grey Cup appearances, winning 4 titles in 5 years in 58, 59, 61, and 62. Today, there's a bronze statue of him outside the Winnipeg Stadium. Grant then became the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings from 67 to 83, and then again in 1985. He led the team to 4 Super Bowl appearances, losing them all, unfortunately. But Grant was inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 1983 and the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1994. Only 2 other people can say they're in both Halls of Fame. That would be Marv Levy just a year or 2 ago and the great Warren Moon.
All right, our next obituary is that of Otis Taylor, a wide receiver in the American Football League and the NFL, has passed away at the age of 80. Taylor played college football at Prairie View A&M and was selected in the 15th round of the 1965 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. He was also selected in the 4th round of the 1965 American Football League Draft by the Kansas City Chiefs. He signed with the Chiefs and played his entire 11-year career in Kansas City from 1965 to 1975, winning Super Bowl IV.
Yeah, you can see some great highlights of Otis Taylor on that NFL Films thing that they did where they were following Hank Stram around where he was mic'd up on the sidelines of the Super Bowl. Great game, great video there. Check that out. All right, and our final obituary today is that of Dick Haley, a defensive back and halfback in the NFL for 6 seasons, has passed away at the age of 85. Haley played college football at Pittsburgh. He was selected in the 9th round of the 1959 NFL Draft by the Washington Redskins and played 2 seasons in Washington, 1959 and 1960. He then signed with the Minnesota Vikings in 1961, but was traded during the season to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he played through 1964. After his playing career was over, Haley became the director of player personnel for the Steelers from 1987 to 1990, and then he moved over to the New York Jets where he had the same role from 1991 to 2000. He was also the Jets' general manager in 2001 and 2002. All right, that's it for the obituaries. Now we're up to our history lesson today. Any breaking news before we go on to the history lesson?
No breaking news as of yet. The
let's
floodgates
slip this in
are
before something
still
happens.
shut.
All right. In this week's history lesson, we look all the way back to 2001 to the original XFL, and back then they weren't thinking about anything but expansion, so this is the story of their expansion plans in 2001. The original XFL was around for only 1 season, but it was very memorable for a number of reasons. There was the Sky Camera, He Hate Me, and the $1 Million Game, just to name a few. But before the league folded, they were actually looking to expand. The 8-team XFL was looking to expand to either 2 to 4 teams in either 2002 or 2003. The XFL only wanted to play in open-air stadiums, so no dome stadiums were even considered. On March 27, 2001, executives from the XFL visited Washington, D.C. They were there to check out RFK Stadium as a possible location for a team. They were also there to check out team practice facilities and team offices. 2 days later, they were in Detroit. They were there to check out Tiger Stadium. The Detroit Tigers had moved into their new home of Comerica Park in 2000, leaving the stadium vacant. Tiger Stadium has a long history of pro football because the Detroit Lions played there from 1938 to 1974. They moved into the Pontiac Silverdome in 1975. XFL President Basil DeVito headed up the traveling team, as well as the XFL Expansion Committee Chairman, Rich Rose. Other cities that were being considered at the time were Toronto, Pittsburgh, and Portland, Oregon. The idea was to be able to sell 20,000 season tickets in whatever city they decided to expand to. But expansion just wasn't in the cards for the XFL. It folded on May 10, 2001, after their broadcasting partner, NBC, decided that a second season just wasn't going to be feasible. Who knows what would have happened if the XFL had been around for a second season and actually expanded? Would Detroit and Washington, D.C. have been added to the league? Or other cities? We may never know. It would be almost 20 years before an XFL team actually came to Washington, D.C. in the form of the 2020 D.C. Defenders. It's always good to have a plan for the future, even if that future doesn't go exactly the way you planned. And the 2001 XFL was certainly no different.
I remember so badly wanting an XFL team in Detroit
Yeah.
that year. I mean, I was a Chicago Enforcers fan. You were a Las Vegas Outlaws fan.
Right.
And we were just like, well, we could ditch those two loser teams and get a brand new team in Detroit. That'd be great.
Yeah, I remember. I think I saved an article way back when where they talked about two cities they were looking to expand in, and I always remember Detroit, of course, and I could never remember who that other team was until I really started doing some research this past week, and I ran across those articles, and it was they went to Washington D.C. first. 2 days later, they went to Detroit, and all I remembered was Detroit. So, but yeah, Washington D.C. was
what a time that would have been if we would have gotten an XFL team.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if I would have gone to too many games because it would have been so cold.
Well, yeah, and depending on where it would have been in Detroit, especially that time, I'm trying to think of what stadiums they would have had.
Well, Tiger Stadium was.
Oh, that's true.
Mainly,
that's right. Yeah, that's
mainly
right.
who they were
in the
talking
story
about.
itself. Yep, you mentioned Tiger Stadium, but man, yeah, it would have been colder, and it would have been February, March.
I remember all those other games. The games in Chicago, the first part of the season. Man, they were so cold.
We kind of wanted to go, but we for whatever reason, let's wait till next year. We'll go to a game, and the XFL never came back. Then we tried to go to an XFL game in 2020, and we all know how that story went.
Yeah.
It was the week we had tickets was the week they shut down.
Yep.
Now we have tickets for a couple weeks from now. What's gonna happen? Is it gonna shut down again?
No, I think they're fine for this year, and I'm really looking forward to going to
very excited.
St. Louis. Gonna get some.
It's gonna be a content gold mine for us.
I'm trying to scope out restaurants around our hotel. We got a hotel that's not too far from the stadium.
I'm just concerned about getting GoPros up in the car so we can film all of our hijinks while road tripping.
We'll be on the road for what, 6 hours there, 6 hours back. You're probably going to take all kinds of video, and we're going to get home and go, we can't use any of this crap.
Squat.
This is terrible.
Half of it's just Randy trying to make jokes while we're driving. Will that make it in?
Will that make it in? Listen to the Beatles channel on Sirius XM.
Yeah, we can't. Hate to break it to you, we can't listen to any of the Beatles music.
Oh no,
we got to keep that off the audio.
Okay, not the long and winding road.
Oh my god. Well, if you want to take the long and winding road off of YouTube, then sure.
We'll see. Okay. Upcoming events calendar this weekend, beginning Friday night. March 17th, the Indoor Football League regular season begins. I looked at their schedule. They only have 2 games this weekend, more after this. But this weekend, they have a game on Friday night, the Arizona Rattlers at the Quad City Steamwheelers. And then on Sunday, it's the Frisco Fighters at the Green Bay Blizzards.
3 of 4 former Arena Football League teams.
Yeah.
Could this be their last season in the Indoor Football League? Let's start the speculation.
We shall see. We shall see.
What do you know?
I know nothing.
Okay.
All I have is... speculation and,
and a few sources.
I have no sources. Let's see. Sunday, April 16th, the USFL regular season begins. April 27th through the 21st, the NFL
29th.
draft.
Wow, what a weird.
That's
the longest draft of all time.
What did I say?
You said the 27th through the 21st.
Oh, the 29th.
Man, that's a long draft. Are we back to the 15-round days?
The NFL draft in Kansas City. Next year is going to be in Detroit, Tuesday, May 2nd, the CFL draft takes place. That's just a conference call.
On Taco Tuesday? Come on, CFL.
Somebody should sponsor that. Taco Bell should sponsor that.
Welcome to the CFL's Taco Tuesday draft presented by Taco Bell.
Along with Pizza. Let's see. Friday, May 22nd, the CFL preseason begins. So 20 days after they get drafted, they're practicing or they're starting their preseason with their new team, these players. Let's see. Saturday, May 23rd, the XFL Championship game in San Antonio. Thursday, June 8th, CFL regular season begins. And Thursday, August 3rd, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton featuring the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets led by who knows?
Oh my God. At this point, it might as well be the janitor because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is actually going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not feeling coming to Canton right
now. Oh, yeah,
now.
He's going to sit out that whole preseason. Are you kidding me? God.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen there.
You say Aaron Rodgers has made a wish list. I say it's a list of demands / hostage situation.
All I know is what I read. It
Man.
was just his wish list.
And the fact that he's got one guy down, 3 to go. If the Jets actually end up bending over backwards and getting all these dudes
ruin their team to get him,
I
don't know.
I hope you enjoy your 7-9 season.
Could we be looking at a situation like the Denver Broncos, where they got Russell Wilson from Seattle, and he amounted to nothing once he got there?
I see it being more like the Brett Favre. I think this is the Brett Favre situation repeating itself all over again.
Yeah, then he's going to go to Minnesota after this.
Yep, then he's going to go to Minnesota. They're going to get to the NFC Championship game. They're going to lose, and then he's going to play another year and be terrible, and then he's going to retire.
History repeating itself in the NFL. All right, anything else?
No, but NFL Memes did release a great New York Packers logo. I'm just saying, chef's kiss to their graphics department. I mean, it's not that hard. It's just putting Packers in the New York Jets logo, but still, great stuff.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can like The World of Football on Facebook. Go visit us over there, TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow our Twitter account at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can find the full audio version on YouTube. You can also search YouTube for The World of Football Kalamazoo to see the plethora of videos we've been putting out there, including a video version of this week's history lesson. The what was it called again? The
2001 XFL expansion.
The original XFL's expansion. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to post those on Wednesdays, roughly about 24 hours after the podcast. We're recording a little late today because somebody was installing toilet seats. No joke.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm welcome. Please, they're your toilets. So yeah, go over there, youtube.com/@theworldoffootball to see all the fun stuff we've been cooking up over there. Maybe another XFL video down the line here soon. We'll have to figure that out. Yeah. We are also on Amazon Music, so you can ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us in your ear holes. Feel free to rate, subscribe, review, give us a like, leave a comment on all those different platforms, wherever you feel like having a conversation with us. Let us know what you think. Please come be a part of the football conversation. We've already got a lot of great stuff in some of the YouTube comments. We even got one today of a fan sending us a link to an article out of Springfield, Missouri, I want to say, about a new arena league starting out there called Arena Style League, called just the Arena League. No football in the title. It's just the AL, the Arena League, starting up next year. So very interesting. I hadn't heard of this league. You said you've been hearing about it.
I read a little bit about it last week when they announced the Springfield team. They're going to play with only 6 players on a team.
6 players on a team, 20-minute play clocks. And in the video of this link, and I believe it was in the, I guess I'll hurry up, look it up, but whatever this team was that they were showing in their video footage had the Detroit Fury field turf. Yeah.
Okay. So they bought the old field from
from them.
Detroit, and
in that arena football auction that happened several years
we've seen that
back.
Many times before, where you see a team in another league, and they're, what was it, the Los Angeles Kiss field? Somebody bought that and was using it in another league. Once they don't need them anymore, they just move them somewhere else.
Yeah, thank you to B. Lewis, apparently a fan of the podcast. Hopefully you're listening right now and enjoy the shout out. That he left that comment on our history lesson from last week's video. So thank you, sir, or madam.
I had heard of the team and about a little bit about the league, but I really didn't want to talk about it till they had some more teams. It's not launching till next year,
right?
So
and former NFL wide receiver Tim Brown's apparently the commissioner of this league,
and
apparently in this news article, like I said, great article. It's under the Indoor Football League history lesson video that B. Lewis shared, but they also talk about like fans will be able to sit in the stands and listen in on the play calls and stuff, which is an interesting concept, kind of like what we're doing watching XFL right now, but at home. But to be sitting there, like, I feel like that would be weird and distracting, sitting in the arena, having Bluetooth headphones on, connected to whatever, to listen in on your own team. feel like that caused some issues. I feel like the other team might try to cheat and listen in as well.
Well, years ago, there was a story. I read it in a book, and I cannot find it again. But there was a story where the Kansas City Chiefs had a setup when they first moved to Kansas City, where were having a preseason game, and they had Len Dawson wired up, and the folks in the crowd could listen to him on a certain radio frequency, so they could hold their little transistor radios up their ear, and they could hear Len Dawson calling the plays in the huddle from the stand. And this is 1960s technology. And I guess the first thing he said was he started swearing to his teammates and telling them that we're going down the field and we're going to F and score or something like that. So they stopped that
Oh, I'm
right
sure they
away.
did.
I gotta find that again. I was going to do a history lesson on that, but I cannot find where I read that. And I've gone through several books, and normally I make notes, and I put it in the back of the book, where I find certain stories and what page they're on. I cannot find that one, but that was a great story.
Try to find it.
Yeah.
All right, and right quick before we leave, another breaking NFL free agency alert.
God, we didn't get out of here fast enough.
No, we didn't. Quarterback Andy Dalton is expected to agree to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Panthers that includes $8 million guaranteed. So Andy Dalton on the move again.
Wow. Man, he's been everywhere.
He has.
Okay, we're going to end this quick before something else breaks. And remember, folks.
Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Detroit Lions. I'm just kidding.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football
than Adam Schefter, apparently.
Well, than the two of us. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job, I'm Randy Snow.
I'm pretty sure this is a flawless show, so I don't know what you're talking about.
See you all next week.